Hi, Richard. Richard Anderson here, and so this is our first or second episode for a podcast that we're starting called Unlocked, and so really cool. I really just want to share my thoughts because the reason we started. So I guess I'll start with that. The reason we wanted to start this is because we were doing videos for the client and stuff like that, and I was recording a conversation like this, and somebody said like, "Wow, like." This was pretty cool. You should just put it as a podcast. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I should just put it as a podcast because it doesn't take really any effort, and just sharing a little bit of thoughts or mindset or whatever. And I think if anybody's interested, you want to listen to it, then that's cool. So a couple of things that were in my mind is on Tuesday, I had a conversation with somebody I look up to in California, and it was a heated conversation, and it was like, wow. I was just really thinking like a lot of times I feel like a lot of times people get really offended when you tell them the truth. And so we were just, and again, this is going to be just mainly mindset and stuff like that, but we're just kind of chatting about, well, what does it look like to, put pressure on somebody new that just started something. And, in this case, we have somebody that's opening up a company in California, doing a really good job, and they're opening a company in a very competitive market. So the way we look at it is like, hey, the performance of this market has to be X amount. It has to be a lot higher than normally we would expect from somebody brand new, because the market's so competitive. And if you would have asked me 3 years ago, then it would have not really mattered. But now we're looking at, hey, somebody has to probably be performing at a level that normally it takes more like a year or 2 years to get to, maybe even 3 consistently. Somebody probably has to hit that now in the first 4 to 8 weeks, because our business is blowing up, it's growing, and people are getting paid a lot more money than they used to do a lot less than they used to. So obviously by default, the market grows and all that, and it puts pressure, it puts more money in people's pocket, it puts more money in the bank, but it does create more pressure for the individual. So I was just sharing my thoughts with this person. I'm like, hey, look, somebody might be new, but they have to, like, after 4 weeks, if they're not performing at a high level, like, they're going to look at this market and they're going to take the leads away. They're going to take the territory away, because it's the truth of the world we live in. I think we're, with this specific client, we're operating, I think we're at 130%. It's October now, and we're at 130% of their yearly goal. So we've already blown up their goal, but they keep asking for more and they keep asking for more. And when you give money to a client, they just want more and more and more. There's never such thing as like a goal that's been hit and then we chill back and relax. So I was sharing my thoughts, and I was like, and then this person called me after the fact that this was like a meeting on Zoom and whatever. This person called me after the fact. She was very bothered. She was like, yo, well, then you shouldn't put all this pressure on a person that just started, because even though if it's true, then it doesn't really matter. Like, we shouldn't be putting pressure because they're brand new and that's not going to help them and something like that. And to a level, I agree with that. But then I was thinking like, hey, why is it that we're like avoiding to tell the truth to people just because of how they're going to feel about it? And I think this is, like, unfortunately a pattern or a trend that we see a lot, and I think it's not really good for business. It's not really conducive for business. And you might be growing a team in an office, or you might be, I don't know, building whatever that is that you're building. And I think it's always beneficial to tell the truth. And I'm sure there's a lot of ways, and somebody could argue, well, hey, the delivery of this could be better, or you could say with different words and whatever. But at the end of the day, the truth is truth. And I was not arguing with this person. It was pretty heated, but it was more like me trying to make sense and understand, like, why should I not tell the truth to somebody? How would the truth not help? And I think the truth helps always, and if you look at, I was listening to Alex and Leila Hermosi, and she was talking about, like, hey, when leaders don't have a vision, they don't have like a truth that they're sharing with their team, they're just kind of operating. Leaders that are not very organized, they're not very maybe strong in their mindset, they create a lot of non-committed followers. And I think that's when it sucks to run an office or to run a business, really. It kind of sucks when you're working with people that don't really want to be there. They're just there for the paycheck. They're just there because whatever. And I think a good way that the way you can solve that is you got to tell people the truth, and you got to figure out a way to say it that it's nice, but most of the times the truth bothers people. Whenever the guy that said the earth was flat and somebody said that it's not, like, it bothered people. They wanted to kill the guy. What's his name, Claire? Do you remember the person that said the earth was flat? There was somebody who said the earth was flat, and then they wanted to kill him when somebody figured out like the ocean didn't end, and there was no fall off. It's funny, and it's an extreme example. But if you find yourself arguing with people, or if you find yourself having to say less truth in order to belong more to a certain group or comply more to somebody's perception of you, I would fight you to just tell the truth and tell your person. That doesn't mean you're a total you're mean to people. That doesn't mean you're disrespectful to people. It just means that you tell, hey, the reason I want to tell you the truth is because I don't want you to operate in this delusional world. And we had like a 10-20 minute conversation, and we ended up deciding, like, hey, let's talk at a different time, because we're not really getting anywhere. And at the end of the day, this person was saying, hey, we shouldn't put pressure on so and so. And we started digging in, and I realized, what, like, the reason the person didn't want the truth is because there's not really a lot of strength coming from this person. And the person's doing a fantastic job and growing and helping a lot, but when you put things out there that they don't have a lot of, when you're doing a lot of work and the results you don't really love yet, then you tend to, if you're helping people expand, you're helping people promote, and those people aren't the strongest, then you're going to create, unfortunately, like a little bit of a sense of protecting them, because you don't want them to get hurt. And it happens, I'm a new dad, so I have a 2-year-old boy. And it happens, I think, if you're raising kids, like if you always lift them and when they fall, and you always help them, and you cry their tears with them, and then you can end up creating a soft kid that gets a tiny little scratch and cries for hours. And unless that's what you want, then the only other solution, or the only other option that I think, is we have to just develop stronger people, and we have to teach people that it's okay to mess up, and we have to be okay with us messing up, and we have to be okay with us looking around and be like, what, I didn't do the best with these people, but if I keep protecting them, if I keep shielding them from truth, then I'm only going to create softer people that are very maybe tough to beat today, but very easy to beat long term. And when you're in the world of business, especially in a competitive, we're talking about a very competitive area where we're at in business right now, even more, because there's more people out there that are, this is the jungle. They're predators to the money, and people that want to expand and grow faster. There's always somebody that's going to eat your lunch. And I looked at it like, what, do I have to tell less truth, or do I have to learn it saying it better, or do I have to, which one of the two? And I was thinking about it the next day, and I'm like, what, there's probably a combination of, like, I probably need to learn to deliver things better. And I'm sure you're working on stuff too. That's what I'm working on. I've been working on it for years. But I think that it's very important that people know the truth. And if somebody is weak, that they understand that they're weak. Not that you go and call people weak because you just want to take confidence away from people and steal their thunder, but you have to let them know that, hey, the reason this isn't working is because your strength isn't enough yet. So here's how to use the strength, or here's how to improve, to put it in a way, in a leadership format, versus just telling them it's all good. It's okay. You can just go at your own pace, whatever. And then them finding out through the market, because the market, like, the city won't lie. Like, the client will request the numbers, that, like, the truth will come and happen. Typically it'll come in a stronger version, which is like why 50% of companies don't survive the first year, why 90% of companies never go past 10 years, is because, they end up finding out the truth through the market. And if the market is not paying you the money, then you can't, whether you want to blame the market or blame yourself, the result is the same, is you're out of business. So just for everybody that's out there, building something, maybe in the business, what I do really in the people business, recruiting, sales, direct sales, and all that, it's really about learning how to manage people. I realized after this conversation that people should be more inclined towards telling the truth. People should learn how to tell the truth in a way that is the least offensive, but never hide from it, because it is what creates stronger people. And you look at our society today, and I'm not going to get into politics and stuff like that because it's not my place. But people are softer now than they were 5 years ago, and you can tell by how people react. You can tell by the way people smile. You can tell. We're in a recruiting business, and it breaks my heart almost to think that, like, how many people now do not want to get on the phone to book an interview, to actually apply for a job. They just only want to text because it's the only way people feel secure. It's like we're in like the most. We're in a. This is like a big. We're super connected. The world is super connected now, more than it's ever been. We just got onto Slack, so I'm super into Slack right now. But you have iMessage and Slack and WhatsApp and GroupMe and Teams and all these formats of. I just learned about Trainio, all these ways to communicate. Then you have Snapchat, Instagram, all the social medias, Facebook, etc., TikTok, and there's all these different formats. LinkedIn is blowing up to communicate, but we are the least connected with other individuals because none of the conversations anymore happen face to face. None is an absolute, but I would say a lot less conversations happen face to face, which is what ends up making people softer, because everybody's more comfortable talking to a screen or talking to a keyboard than they are actually looking at somebody in the eyes. And I think that it overall hurts a lot more long term. And we interview people that don't want to be seen. People that we do a Zoom interview. People sometimes don't want to put their camera on. And it's like, well, how do we expect somebody to have a full-time job in person if they cannot be seen? And so I think that's what not telling the truth overall creates is, people are so protected and we're so worried about people's feelings. And I'm not saying we shouldn't, but I'm saying that we should also worry about, where are people operating in truth? Are people operating in a mindset or on facts that are conducive to positive outcomes, that are conducive to long-term growth? Because me looking at it after this conversation with this person, I'm thinking, you know what? I actually want the best for this person. It's not, I actually want the best. And I believe they want the best for themselves too, but they don't know that, because if they knew, they would be saying the same things I'm saying. And again, it's not for me to decide the truth, or it's not for anyone else to decide the truth. It's really just looking at logics and facts and looking at patterns and looking at what's been going on. And so a little bit, that's what's been on my mind, and I think it's good for people here. So thanks.